How's it going, guys? So welcome to a pretty cool tutorial I have for you guys today. So we're going to be talking about how to achieve the heated metal weathering kind of effect, and we're going to be doing that just with hand painting, no airbrush needed. And it's actually a lot easier than you might think it is, but you know, you get a pretty nice effect. You can see here, pretty happy with how this one turned out. So this is the Zaku machine gun here, from the HG Origin Zaku 1 kit. But really you can apply this to, of course, any gun barrel, anything you would think would have a lot of heat, verniers, thrusters, exhaust ports on any vehicle or mobile suit. You can apply the same technique and you'll get the same effect. This here is the Gatling gun, beam Gatling gun from the HG Full Armor Unicorn, one of 3 of the double beam Gatling guns that's under the shields. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to do it on this today. And you can see here I've already painted it in a gunmetal grey for the main area, and then I've put metallic silver over the front to start off the the effect going. So you can see with the Zaku machine gun, I painted silver underneath and then the rest of the paint over. So let's talk about what you actually need, the paints that you're going to need. And you do need to be pretty specific about the colors that you're going to be applying, because if you don't get the right colors, you're not going to get the right effect. So you don't need to paint your piece gunmetal, but obviously it adds to it. So just if you want to know what I've painted, the main color of this whole Gatling gun here is just Tamiya acrylic gunmetal X10 right here. And then for the tip here, this silver is chrome silver X11. So you definitely probably will need to get the silver because it will give you that base color. It's not gonna work without the silver. So after the silver, we have Tamiya acrylic dark copper. So this is XF28, and this is a metallic kind of copper. There is a standard copper, but I think dark copper works better. And then we have some Mr. Hobby. So we have Mr. Hobby metallic color. This is metal purple, and definitely gonna need this color as well. And then we have metal violet, so we're gonna sort of fade the purple into the violet, and it's gonna just give a very subtle but very nice effect. And then we have Mr. Hobby, Mr. Metallic Color. This one's metal blue. So this effect really only works with metallic kind of paint. Some people I know use clear paints as well, but with clear paints, they really only work well through airbrush. If you're just, like what we're doing today with hand painting, the clear paints aren't gonna work as well. That being said, let's get right into it, guys. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is, obviously lay that silver. So it's not hard to do. All you gotta do is just paint that silver over the tip, the edge of the barrel, and then just sort of dry brush it towards the end. So if you don't know what dry brushing is, all it is you get just a very little bit of paint on your brush, and then you sort of sweep your brush all over, could be a palette or a tissue, until the brush almost seems dry. And then you sort of just brush it, and then it'll sort of give this weathering kind of fade effect, just a little bit. It's not very easy to tell, but it'll just give a little bit of an effect, like it's fading back into the rest of the rifle, the color of the gunmetal. And what I also did was I actually mixed the chrome silver and gunmetal. I actually mixed a little bit of that, and then I painted the transition area between the silver and the gunmetal so that it looks more smooth. Alright guys, so anyways, getting right into it, the first paint we're going to apply is the dark copper. So just open it, and normally, obviously it's really important to thin your paints, but with this, you're not going to really need to thin your paints because it's only a really small area. So if you thin it down, well, it's just not really necessary to thin it down. doesn't make much of a difference, especially because we're using so little paint. And yeah, really don't take too much out of the paint because we're really just gonna need a very tiny amount. So I'm just gonna take a little bit, and then so what we're gonna do is we're gonna dry brush. So you can see right here, let me just bring my palette over. What I'm doing is I'm just wiping my brush all over just to get rid of the excess paint. And then so once you're sort of brushed away all the excess paint, just make sure there will still be a little bit of paint on your brush, so not to worry. So all you gotta do is just sort of paint the edge. And with the copper, we're gonna want it to be a bit maybe last. We want the copper to go all the way, almost the whole length of the front barrel. We just want to see a little bit of silver peeking through, so just gonna try to cover the copper all over. So this is why we need to dry brush, so that the silver, if you guys can see, the reason we're dry brushing instead of putting actual paint on there is so that we can have sort of the silver still peeking through, and still peeking through the copper, and we can get this nice sort of rust kind of effect. So I think I'm gonna need a bit more. So one thing is that you don't want to make it too obvious, but at the same time you don't want to make it too subtle either, and you want to give yourself enough room, because later you're going to put all the violet and the blue on there. So just make sure the copper, you don't want the copper to just disappear, so make sure the copper actually goes for quite a bit of the length of the barrel, or at least the front of the barrel. So you can see here, it's looking pretty nice. I'm just gonna do the other Gatling gun here. Okay, so one thing I would recommend you guys do, and I'm doing wrongly I reckon, is you should probably stroke this way instead of stroking this way. Stroke away from the end of the barrel because you want it to fade towards the actual Gatling gun, because obviously it's supposed to be more intense on the front of the barrel, and that's going to be same with the other colors. We want it to sort of look intense at the front and then sort of fade. I would recommend using a really soft brush. I'm using a pretty crappy brush right here, but just try to use a pretty smooth and soft brush, so that'll give you the best effect. But obviously dry brushing is a pretty violent kind of technique, so you don't want to use a really good brush either. Try using maybe a nice brush, but not one that's really expensive or anything. Just alright guys, so that's probably going to do it for the copper. So we have that sort of a fade effect. You can still see a bit of the silver coming through, which is good. Okay guys, and then the next color we're going to apply will be the metal purple. So you can see the difference between the violet and the purple. The purple is sort of lighter, so you want to go in this order of a lighter purple to a darker purple. So let's get that open. Just gonna grab a little bit, and then we're gonna want to still see the copper, of course, so we're gonna just do just a little bit more. It's a bit hard to do this on camera. So the drying time of acrylic obviously is pretty short, so you don't need long intervals in between, and it's also it's also pretty good to do it while the paint is still a little bit wet, so that you get a bit of a blend effect and the paint kind of mixes a little bit. Okay, my brush is a little bit too wet right now. Brush that down. But the good thing, guys, is that it's really not too hard to fix if you make a mistake. Just dry brush it down. So I think I'm covering a bit too much of the copper here, but it's okay. So right now I'm just smoothing it out, making it fade a little bit better so it doesn't look as stark and it doesn't look like it's painted, of course. So try to swipe down like away from the end of the barrel. Okay, that should be good. So there we have a little bit of the effect going. You can already see it coming together. So the next thing we're going to do is get the violet. So we're just progressively getting a little bit darker and darker. Get a bit of the violet. And the violet we're going to just want to do very close to the end here. Make it very subtle, just towards the end tip of the barrel. So you can see sort of the difference between the two barrels. So I know it's not looking too clean right now. It's just really hard to do on camera. But, you know, the basic idea is there. All right. Just towards the tip. All right, guys, so gonna leave it at that. So we have one final color to put, and that's going to be the metal blue. So with the blue, you really just want to hit the tip, and the tip only. That's what she said. Just to give a little bit of a highlight. Oops. Really is pretty hard to do this on camera. I'm sorry guys, I shouldn't be complaining either. So if you do get too much, just wet your brush a little bit and, you know, brush it downwards. Try to mix it and fade it into the rest of the colors. Alright guys, so that's gonna do it. So you can see the effect there. I haven't done the cleanest job, of course, and I am gonna clean that up in a bit, but that is the basic idea, and definitely I could do a better job fading it into another. I did a lot better on this Zaku machine gun. This one looks a bit, you know, pasty, I guess you could say, but you know, that's the basic idea behind the tutorial, guys. It's definitely not too hard to do, and you know, you get a pretty good effect with just hand painting, so no worries if you don't have a hand airbrush, sorry. And hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you guys, apply this and hopefully found this useful. And I'll see you guys next time.